Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to talk about 3 times in my life when I fell madly in love. And none of these love stories involve another human, actually. I'll let you pause the video. You may, if you've been watching my video, you may already know what these 3 moments were. I'll start with the most recent love story that where I fell in love. It was August of 2022, and I had just made my first bismuth crystal. I still distinctly remember the first time I attempted it. I got a lump of bismuth that looked nothing like a crystal, except maybe 1 or 2 crystals in the middle of it. I couldn't even pluck it out of there. But it made me realize that I could make bismuth crystals, and I fell madly in love. That night, I stayed up all night. You gotta remember, I used to live out of my car as well. I had a favorite park and ride station where they had outlets for electric cars, and I would set up over there. I'd connect my extension cord, all my gear, and now my hot plate for melting bismuth and all that. And I got all set up there. And I fell madly in love, even though I didn't really have a suitable place to do this at. What was really funny was, one night, in the middle of doing this, some homeless guy thought I was making methamphetamines and asked me if I had some to sell. I take it he never seen anybody actually make it in person. And I laughed about it with my friends, and my family got really concerned. They didn't want me hanging around stuff like that. But I was used to it. I had lived out of my car on and off for 8 years, believe it or not, when I was in Seattle. I did it a few times in Rochester, New York as well. So I've seen all sorts of wackiness and knew my street smarts of getting around that. So I wasn't too worried about it. But I fell madly in love. Every day was like, when do I get to go home and continue this project? And all my thoughts revolved around it, right? And I was stupidly in love. Even to this day, I still have to make sure to actually have a life outside of the bismuth. And since then, I've also fell in love with making art out of other metals as well. Most notably pewter and zinc and titanium. And I hope to do tantalum, which is similar to the titanium, also anodizing it. And so it really is a love story. My life revolves around it, right? Part of the reason, what keeps me motivated here at, this is Phoenix College where I'm teaching right now, what keeps me motivated is earning more money to get bismuth, to make more art out of it, right? And just like how you might support a family or support a spouse that you're stupidly in love with, right? It's a love story, it really is. Now my second most recent love story was back in 2020. I had made a New Year's resolution to normalize my relationship with food. I had been grappling all year long of 2019 with binge eating problems. I lost a couple of jobs over it. And also, it may have contributed to me breaking up with my girlfriend. I mean, ultimately, the COVID lockdowns kind of forced us apart, but I think the binge eating didn't help either. We had locked down, and I couldn't find my favorite food at the store, couldn't find toilet paper, and I decided that would be a great time and opportunity to do a long fast. And I ended up doing a 52-hour fast that time, if I remember correctly. And I fell madly in love. I remember thinking I could go on a long fast and perish like this, and that would be a good end and a romantic end, not an end in terms of, oh my God, I can't handle life anymore, let's go. More like let's have a romantic ending to this story. I know it's weird. It's like a weird form of. I tried to Google this. Has anybody ever ended their life because they're on a good note and they want to keep it that way, right? I can't seem to find very much literature on that. But I've been tempted to do that. It's weird, I know. But if I were to go that way, it would probably be in a fasting death. And I've had a number of romantic fasts since then. My most recent one was this past Yom Kippur. I went on the dry fast. It's normally done for 25 hours. I pushed it to 26 and a half because I was having such a good time. And I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to go. The only reason I didn't go that time was I had a student at the other college I'm working at, he had special needs and needed extensions and all that, and I hated to have him need to look for another instructor in the middle of what was his best semester yet so far. That's the only reason I didn't decide to check out that Yom Kippur, because I was feeling, again, not I want to end my life because it's painful, I can't deal with it. No, I want to end my life on a good note, right? I don't know what that concept is called. I really don't. I tried looking everywhere for that. I'm sure it happens from time to time. Usually people probably paint it in a different brush though, right? Now, my third biggest love story in my life was I was working on my PhD. It was I was 3 months away from graduating. My grandpa had passed away. And also, not long before that, I had gotten myself into a mess with a relationship with a girl. She was taking advantage of me. I almost dropped out of school. Now I was close to graduating. And, but I was terrified to death because graduation was coming up and I didn't have a girl to take to the graduation ceremony. And so I decided to write an AI for the game of Othello, 8x8 Othello, a board game, thinking that that would be a great opportunity for me to network with people. And I started writing away, and once again I was pulling all-nighters. I was having a fun time, and I was escaping from Grandpa passing away, from all the relationship dramas. And for the first time at my PhD studies, I actually felt like I was in love again. It wasn't with a girl, but anyways, it just goes to show that love doesn't have to involve another human, right? And maybe we should get our noses out of how people marry and let people live their lives, right? I think government should get out of marriage. I don't think there should be any government-sanctioned marriage. There certainly shouldn't be any discrimination, right? So, for example, obviously our taxes discriminate against marriage, or various policies. The word marriage should be deleted from every law in the books, right? If we were to accept relationships like the ones that I just described, right? Because those were romantic. When I compare those with the first time I ever kissed a girl, or the first time I ever had a good conversation with a girl, or even the time when I lost my virginity, none of that compares to these three events in my life.